Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new installment of AV Veterans Talk. I'm your host, Bob Alvis, and this week we're speaking with Jasen Watts, an Iraqi war veteran, Purple Heart recipient, and resident of the Antelope Valley. So, Jasen, you were once again streets and the whole community thing. The threats that were in the neighborhoods. You probably get calls. Or you had to go into areas, or you were just patrolling areas?
We did a little bit of everything. We would do our own patrols. We were more like a police force than anything. It's like, here's your town, try to make it safe. So we do a lot of patrols and just start exploring, knocking on doors, talking to people. But every now and then we'd be given missions like, hey, we know that there's a known insurgent living at this house, or a guy that's funding it, or a guy that's building the explosive devices. So then we would, generally wait until 2 a.m., till they're asleep, and then going into a raid and stuff like that. And then if other units were passing through our sector and maybe got hit, then we'd go to them to help them out. So a little bit of everything.
Boy, 2 a.m. in the morning, the adrenaline's just got to be when you get into a knocking on somebody. Well, you wouldn't knock on their door.
No, we would kick the door in.
Kick the door in.
Yeah, the adrenaline really gets pumping.
Oh, I could imagine. And, of course, you're... how old were you probably then?
Oh, I would have been 22.
22 years old. Oh boy!
Yeah,
it's suddenly no longer. We live in a society where everybody's. It's Call of Duty. Stuff on the video games, and when all of a sudden it's the real deal.
It's real.
It's real. It's kind of deal. Any incidences when those doors would get kicked in, when it would just the chaos would just be overwhelming?
Thankfully, no. No firefights inside buildings from those situations. Yeah. We got pretty lucky most of the time. We would do a raid. They were asleep. Of course, the challenging part would be in the summer months. Over there, all their roofs are pretty much flat, and there's doors that lead up to the roofs. So what a lot of the families would do, because they can't afford air conditioning and fans, is at nighttime they sleep up on the roof. So, and most of the buildings are two-story buildings, with the roof being the third story. So when we kick in a door, we have to hustle all the way up to the roof to get most of the people that are in the house.
Yeah, wow. Temperature-wise, that's an interesting aspect too. Over there in the summertime, an daytime temperature is running about what?
Oh, I want to say the average was probably pushing the 120s. And we have guys just for fun keep thermometers in their vests, and they'd take those out after a couple hours, and inside their vest was registering, 140, 145.
Yeah. So, once again, I always see people complaining about their job and working environments.
Yeah.
And I'm always in awe. And once again, it's the reason we honor our soldiers so much. It's even beyond the combat. It's the actual just working conditions are so brutal. And all that stuff you have, because you had prop Kevlar, and
they're big Kevlar vests that hold ballistic plates in them. So it's thicker than a normal like bulletproof vest.
Right. Wow. So the day came when you were on a mission, and of course you were injured massively.
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal stuff. In your best, however you want to share that, what was that day like when your world changed drastically?
It started off as a normal day. Had a mission to go out into a little neighborhood where it was just all dirt and kind of like mud huts and stuff like that, to talk to the locals, because there had been some recent insurgent activity out there, so we wanted to find something out about them. So got up that morning and was headed down. I was driving that day, so had to get the Humvee ready, and started the mission like normal, headed out, and everything was going fine. Once we'd been out for, I want to say about 6-7 hours, kind of got enough intel as we needed, and decided, okay, let's start heading back, and started driving back. And I was the second vehicle in a 4-vehicle convoy, and the road we were taking back had a bend in it. So the front vehicle stopped because IEDs had been found on that road, and they said, we're going to dismount and walk the road to try to check for IEDs, because at this point out there, they were aiming more for taking out vehicles, not just one or two people walking on a road.
Right.
So that's why they did that. And so they're walking, and we noticed that there was a dirt road that kind of paralleled the paved road that they were on. So we decided, well, let's parallel them on the dirt road, so if anything does happen or they get engaged, we're there to help them. So we're trailing them off to their right, and they clear the road and they realize, okay, yeah, there's no threat, so we're going to go ahead and continue on. And we saw that the dirt road and the paved road merged up ahead. So we stopped so the front vehicle can mount back up, and we thought, okay, we'll just accelerate and kind of get right back into our line and we're fine. And so once they were loaded up, they started to drive off. I accelerated and rolled maybe 20, 30 feet. And then it felt like just out of the middle of nowhere, a big rig T-boned us. And I remember being confused for a second, like, what in the world just happened? And then finally it clicked in, oh, we just got hit by an IED.
Right.
And kind of everything went dark from the big dust cloud. And I opened my eyes and, see, I thought I was conscious the whole time, but talking to guys later on, I guess I was knocked out for about 6-7 minutes.
Right.
But I remember opening my eyes and gasping for air because the wind got knocked out of me. Felt like someone punched me in the stomach.
Right.
And had a small little cut on my forehead, and that's bleeding like crazy. So that's dripping in my eyes, and I'm literally seeing red.
Yeah.
And kind of once I get everything figured out and what's going on, I turned to my right to talk to the guys that were in my Humvee, and I noticed they're all gone. All our doors are open. So again, I'm sitting there confused, going, "Where is everybody?" I thought they got blown out of the Humvee. So then I realized, well, I got to get out of here. And the Humvee now, since the front end got blown up, was sitting on the frame. And so I go to get out, and there was a little bit of pain in my right leg, and I couldn't figure out why. So I touched my right hip, and I felt a big old bulge in my hip. And I thought, okay, I dislocated my hip.
Right.
It's not too serious. They'll probably pop it back in, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
So still couldn't get out of the vehicle, so I started yelling for somebody to come help me, and then one of our medics came up, and then he went and got a stretcher, and I said, my hip's dislocated, and he goes, okay, well, I'll get you out and everything, and he goes, it's going to hurt because I have to pull you out of the Humvee before I can give you morphine or any kind of painkillers. I was like, okay, just get it done. And so he gets in there and kind of gets me in a big bear hug and starts pulling me out of the Humvee and then sliding me across onto the stretcher. And as he slid me across the stretcher, my feet dragged behind me, and then when my right leg kind of fell out of the Humvee, it bent at a 45-degree angle to the right, mid-shaft of my femur. Then I realized, oh, my femur's broken. That's that bulges I was feeling was actually the bone that shot up into my hip.
Right.
And both of my knees got cut open, so I'm lying there, saw my leg, I was bent, and he put it back in front of me. Knees are bleeding like crazy, and at that point I honestly thought I was going to lose my right leg because there was just so much blood and everything. And he's telling me, no, you're going to be fine. It's just a broken leg. And, I'm going back to some of our medic training and going, no, you're just saying that to calm me down. So I thought for sure I was losing it. And a couple minutes later, all of a sudden I could hear a helicopter coming. So I knew the medevac was coming and threw me on the bird and took me to the green zone in actual Baghdad, where I went in there and they said the same thing. No, you've got a broken leg. Then I also had a broken left femur. So we're going to take you in, put some rods in, and get you set up. So went in there and had surgery and stabilized the bones.
Wow. We'll go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk about a little bit of the process of the surgery and getting you back here and stuff, okay?
Okay.
So we'll pick it up right after the break.